Did anyone else notice a rapid shift in the mainstream media as soon as Donald Trump was inaugurated? I mean, the mainstream media went 4 years straight, just straight up ignoring everything Biden did. They would make excuses for him when he would fall asleep or get lost on stage. And they basically just didn't even acknowledge half the things that happened during his presidency. But now that Donald Trump is president, they are cross-examining, over-examining, dissecting everything this guy says and does. And I'm just wondering, where was this during the last 4 years? Wouldn't it have been very entertaining to watch the media dissect Joe Biden in the way that they do Donald Trump? And it's like, even when they did have a chance to talk to Joe Biden or ask questions, they would ask softball, questions that were already pre-picked out and pre-chosen. Biden would only call on the reporters that he knew would ask the softball questions. But now, all of a sudden, they have hard-hitting questions again. And I'm like, where did this come from? Where were these hard-hitting questions during Biden's 4 years in office? During the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan, as our country was flooded with illegal immigrants, as our economy was collapsing, as multiple wars were sparked across the world, where were these hard-hitting questions then? We didn't even get one. In the 4 years that President Joe Biden was in office, I can't think of one hard-hitting question that this guy was ever asked. The media gave Joe Biden a 4-year free pass. But now that Trump's in office, things have changed. Now all of a sudden they want to do journalism again. Now all of a sudden they want to actually look into things. They want to ask questions. And it's so sickening because the interviewers and the reporters and stuff who are doing this, they always have the same smug looks on their faces. And the way they set up their questions, they do it for gotcha moments. We didn't see a single gotcha moment while Biden was in office, but now every question asked, it's a gotcha moment. How can we get you here? How can we get you there? How can we get you to stumble up and say something that we can turn against you and use your words against you? There's no honesty. There's no just, we just want you to be transparent with the public. No, it's we got to structure our questions in a way that you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for a gotcha moment. But one thing I will say about J.D. Vance is this dude seems to be an expert at dodging some of that stuff and combating some of that stuff. I wasn't so sure about J.D. Vance when he was named as Trump's VP nominee. But now, I think I'm somewhat sold on the guy. At the very least, I love how he handles himself in these interviews, in these hostile interviews, because the way he shoots these woke idiots down, I think it's hilarious. It's a masterclass in how to handle yourself when you're being interviewed by someone who's looking for a gotcha moment. So let's go ahead and roll this clip really quickly. I want you all to see one of these gotcha moments that backfires right in their face, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
When you talked to us in August, you said, I don't think we should abandon anybody who's been properly vetted and helped us. Do you stand by that?
Well, Margaret, I don't agree that all these immigrants or all these refugees have been properly vetted. In fact, we know that there are cases of people who allegedly were properly vetted and then were literally planning terrorist attacks on our country. That happened during the campaign, if you may remember. So clearly not all of these foreign nationals
but there are
have been properly
30,000
vetted.
people in the pipeline, Afghan refugees.
But my primary concern as the vice president, Margaret, is to look after the American people. And now that we know that we have vetting problems with a lot of these refugee programs, we absolutely cannot unleash thousands of unvetted people into our country.
These people
it's not good.
These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was allegedly properly vetted, and many people in the media and the Democratic Party said that he was properly vetted. Clearly he wasn't. I don't want my children to share a neighborhood with people who are not properly vetted. And because I don't want it for my kids, I'm not going to force any other American citizens' kids to do that either.
No, and that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country, and I think most Americans agree with me.
This is how you do it. JD Vance pulled out the reverse Uno card. Oh, you want a gotcha moment? Well, guess what? I'm going to get a gotcha moment on your ass. I'm going to flip this around and I'm going to make you look stupid. Because obviously, you're being insincere here. You're trying to make me look bad, so I'm going to just inject some common sense. And that's all it takes, ladies and gentlemen. Don't ever allow yourself to get too worked up when debating or arguing with one of these woke leftist idiots. Because all it takes is common sense. They can flip off at the mouth. They can say a bunch of things. In reality, when you interject just a tidbit of facts and common sense into the equation, you will win that debate and argument every time. Maybe not in the eyes of woke weirdo leftists, but in the eyes of normal people, okay? And that's what JD Vance just did. He shut her down, made her look stupid on national television. She thought she was going to have a gotcha moment where they could get a sound bite out of JD Vance and make him look bad for months on end. But instead, she had to look down in self-defeat, realizing that she wasn't smart enough to handle it. You're not dealing with Joe Biden or Kamala Harris anymore. You're dealing with people who actually have a brain. I'm not here to say JD Vance is the smartest person on earth, but you don't have to be that smart to combat these reporters and these journalists, if that's what you want to call them. Like I said, all you got to do is have a tidbit of common sense, and you can destroy any freaking thing the left has to say. But for now, you all let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. And if you find yourself getting too worked up by all of this, remember, it's just political cinema.